Hey, it's Naima here, Pussy Money with Naima, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm here on my personal page, although normally I am on my business page. So we'll see after this week if I'll continue to be here or if I will return to the business page. Just know if you are watching this as a replay and you're finding value here and you come looking for me next week and I'm not here, perhaps I'm over on the business page. So today's topic is confronting, just like the path of womanhood is always very, very confronting. Hello, Chris. And for those of you who are in the realm of women's empowerment and spirituality and the rise of the divine feminine and, the untapped power of women, that's what we're hearing, and that 2018 is the year of woman. I hear it, Selma Hayek was on the red carpet at the Oscars on Sunday saying, the untapped power of women. And I've heard, what's her name? The founder of the School of Womanly Arts talking about the untapped power of women. And there are communities like that. There's here at Pussy Money, there's very few places in the world where the untapped power of women really is being tapped. And that's what I want to talk about today. And the topic of women will be the demise of womanhood is what I witness outside of these, part of me wants to say these marginal groups because they're not mainstream. Perhaps they're becoming, right? But mainstream is of the patriarchy and mainstream is of status quo, and nothing that is going to transform at a root level is going to derive itself from mainstream. And so, in order for a woman, gosh, I feel like when I even say that, most people don't even have the filter to even receive what a woman is. Most men that I interact with have never met a woman. Most women who I interact with don't even know themselves. They don't know what their desires are. They've never even traversed the depths of their selves. And I don't mean their selves of the mind. I mean like the entire workings of, the archetype of them, the deep non-human essence of them and the human essence of them, because you got to get here on planet Earth and do things, right? And live the life that you want. And so when I talk about woman, I want you to, in this moment, really expand what you even... Just imagine that you don't even know what a woman is. Can we just start from, most of us have never been in intimate relationship with a full woman. A woman who's awake, a woman who's live, a woman who's deeply in her body, a woman who knows how to say yes and no clearly, a woman who has traversed both the things that are considered grotesque and wrong and inappropriate and dangerous, and have explored the erotic and the, unimaginable ecstatic joy and the extravagance and the opulence and the over-the-topness and the richness and the fertileness and the yum and the juice and the joy and the of, right, the ascendant place and everything in between. And I've lived a very, what you might call fringe life, a very unorthodox life, a life that a lot of people will call unorthodox. Hi, Renelle. Unorthodox and dangerous and inappropriate. And I've learned so much more about myself in those places than I have on the path of let's be positive and look on the bright side. And right, there's a place for that for sure. But what I'm getting at here is that because most people, men and women, have no filter for what a full woman is, don't know how to look at one, don't know how to interact with one, don't know how to love and be in support of her blossoming, that what they do instead, unbeknownst to them, is tear down and judge and avoid and shame and make wrong and question and, do sort of like these slick things labeled as love to get her to abandon herself and to try some other path that they feel more comfortable with. And so how do I become this woman who we get out of constantly talk about women being this untapped resource, untapped power, and like shaming her? And how do we take this beyond Me Too? How do we take this beyond, oh, rape culture is bad, let's teach men about, women and love and, consent? And how do we take this into like the real game, the real, earth of it, right? The real, the thing that's compelling, that moves, the fullness of a woman, the thing. We gotta get, first of all, it's individual first. Like, we have to be so willing to confront ourselves. And it's hard, man. It's hard. It is hard to look at oneself. And like, you can't massage yourself. You can't, right? There's certain, like, you can't tickle yourself. So this is why we need each other so badly. And the issue is that because most of us don't even have the capacity to be with another person, even when we get in community, that becomes this painful, almost traumatizing thing, especially if you're a woman who's lived a life that's more advanced as far as self-discovery, and you're in a community with a woman who's just starting out, and then it gets weird, and it's like you don't want to be there, and then she's judgmental, and then she closes it, right? Then it becomes, and then we got to work on that, like teaching her how to be with her. So then everybody's growth stops there, and instead they're focusing on how to be with the other person when we need to learn how to be with ourselves. We really got to learn to confront ourselves individually. This has nothing to do with other people. Learning how to confront ourselves and ask the very difficult questions. And we need mentorship. I mean, we greatly need mentorship with a woman who challenges us. And I don't mean like, tough love and that kind of like where you are almost frozen to death. But I mean, where someone who, in a way that you can really feel the love in it, helps to pull you beyond this space that you've created in the illusion of safety and comfort and righteousness and, spirituality and, because otherwise we're not going to get to where we can get as women. Like, we are unfathomably powerful. Like, it's just the places that I have touched within myself, the places that I have seen that I know that is within me is within every single woman. But the issue is that most women are not going to get there because they're surrounded by a bunch of other women who are shaming, making wrong, making bad. And most women haven't cultivated the power to work beyond that, to see themselves beyond that, to really be able to get deep down inside themselves so deeply where you almost drown, but you don't drown. And you learn how to swim in those parts of yourself that are grotesque, that are dense and painful, and like learning how to navigate pain in a way where you don't take yourself out of the game. And then you can be that for other people. Like, it's the time of, women are such an untapped resource. Okay, so now what? Now what? The immense boredom that's going on in the spiritual communities, the immense trauma that's going on because everybody's running and doing these things that are like placating, I think is what it is. And it's like, we have to start confronting ourselves with love. And we have to commit to the long game of this, because this is a lifelong path. And it's so easy to self-abandon. It's so easy to self-abandon under the guise of, oh, that just doesn't feel right. Self-righteous, and now's not the time for me, right? And there's discernment. There's discernment for sure, right? And you decide that. And the issue is really being cultivated enough where you know that you're making a choice out of true sovereignty versus resistance masquerading as, this just feels right. And so oftentimes it's the thing that feels confronting and hostile and like just has that wake up energy, which is the thing that we need to really break through to the other side of the walls that we erect to keep ourselves behind these illusions of whatever, fill in the blank. Because otherwise I'm bored. Like I'll just go I don't know, go disappear on somewhere. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? After you do all your nice traveling and your fancy dinners and your things that you do to distract yourself and feel good, and then what? What are we doing here? And I'm so hungry to see so much more of us truly empowered, not retreat empowered. I just went to the most amazing retreat in Bali and I'm just so alive. And, I'm not talking about that fleeting womanhood. I'm not talking about this fleeting power and awakeness. I'm talking about who you are at your core, root level. Thank you for the hearts. I've been getting all these hearts and I haven't been acknowledging them. So thank you for the hearts. Hello, Emma. Hello, Gloria. So that's my word. So my homework for you today is to, one, ask yourself, am I being true? Am I operating from my root self? Ask yourself those questions. Answer them honestly. And if you know that being in relationship with truly powerful women who contain the all, and you want to cultivate that filter that can hold the all of womanhood. Oof. Yes. So you can be that for your clients, for your children, for the other women in your life. Oh my God. For the men, be a model for men. Rape culture exists because there aren't enough women in the world. Rape culture exists because there aren't enough women in the world. There's females, meaning females with female parts, and then there's women. Rape culture exists because there aren't enough women in the world who are actively doing the work of womanhood. So we need to be confronting ourselves with love. We need to be actively reaching out to other women who we sense could be iron for us, iron sharpening iron, and really holding us at a high level of expectation as far as our standards are concerned, who are actively out in the world cultivating womanhood and being the example for men, women, and children alike. Otherwise, what are we doing? We're going to constantly be traumatizing each other, constantly bored, not getting anywhere, going to yet another retreat with temporary, feel good, fleeting joy and power, but not getting anywhere that really moves the needle, that really transforms things at a core and permanent level. That's what I'm talking about. So if you're in the Bay Area, you should absolutely come to our Name and Reclaim event. It's in Berkeley. The link is on my page. Go ahead and look for it. It's the Name and Reclaim event happening in Berkeley next Wednesday. So I will be back here with Pussy Money with Naima tomorrow, same time, same place. And so share this video if you have found value here, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow. Lots of love. Bye-bye.